Hello, my people. Good morning. It's such a beautiful morning, and today I have such an amazing woman. Yeah, so Karibu Sana. This is an edited where you get to learn and relearn. Don't forget that. So with me today is well, I'm tempted to introduce you, but please go ahead.
Hello everybody, my name is Ms.Mumbi Tiru. I'm a relator and an investor, and I'm also very passionate about beauty.
It goes without saying. What are you? I'm tempted to ask, but ladies don't say they
I'm
are
not going to say my
age,
age.
right?
Then I know.
All right. Tell me about when you talk about real estate. You know, a number of people think it's about agency or an agent or all that. But the interesting fact when you talk about real estate, for you, basically, it's more of furnished apartment. Why?
Furnished apartments.
Yeah.
I
Why
just-
start from there?
Okay, when you talk about real estate is very, very diverse. And when I started doing real estate, I started with furnished apartments because I got the idea from a friend.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
realized the way it's done and the returns are not very bad, if especially clients are there. So the only problem with doing furnished apartments is, let's say for example, if you don't have your own property, you'll have to rent a property and then you furnish it. So that means you have to be paying the person you've got in the apartment. Yes, you see, when you talk about real estate and furnished apartments, it depends on what you have, and normally we're asked, what do you have on your hands?
Exactly.
Yeah. So just
Yeah.
like Moses was asked by God, what do you have? And he said,
Stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So when you talk about real estate, when I talk about fully furnished apartments, personally, I don't own any apartment of mine, but I go out, rent apartment. Of course, I have to talk to the owner of the apartment. I rent it out, and then I furnish. So I give it out as a furnished apartment. Yes.
And how is it? Because I know it's a bit most of the landlords don't want that.
Yes.
So how do you manage to get the right landlords? Because considering you have houses in high-end areas, it must be really tough. How do you do that?
Let me just say, by the grace of God, I normally don't lie to the owner of the apartment. I tell them I want to
Maybe decorating.
no. I don't lie. Normally I say I want to sublet because they ask, do you want to live in the apartment or you want to sublet? Of course I tell them the truth because you see when it's a fully furnished apartment and you want to host people, anything can happen. Let's say for example, I lie, I tell them it's mine, and then I get a guest, and then something just really happened, but God forbid, something that is not nice, and you lied. You see, it's not a good picture. So I let the owner know the truth. I tell them I want to sublet it. So apparently I get very good and amazing landlords. Yeah. So some
The
accept.
number is ongezi bei.
Okay, some do. Some do because I think they think our returns are very high,
Yes.
because they don't consider also us in our own way. We have our own challenges.
The expenditure of even getting a place furnished is a lot.
It's a lot.
So to get back your money.
Yes.
But why have you settled on it for this one? Because now it's so flooded.
I
It's so
know.
flooded.
When it started, it was not this flooded, but I think a lot of people right now they are learning about it, and I think people want to invest in it. Because when you talk about furnished apartments, people think it's very easy.
Yeah.
People think that you have all the time in your hands, but there's so many challenges also that come with your furnished apartments. We talk about furniture. You have to get very good and high quality furniture. That is something I've learned along the way, because when I started, I didn't know that I had to get very nice quality furniture, because when you go for cheap things, cheap is very costly. Because I've tried that before, and I remember after really messed up. There's a time I wanted to open an apartment, one of my mini apartments, and when I went to these people
The furniture place.
not even the furniture place, the people you to Takata. When I went to Yesu alikuwa carpenters.
Carpenters.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So acha tuanze hapo, si ndio? So I remember there's a time I wanted to open an apartment, but that was when I started. I didn't have like enough, money, because if you really want a good apartment, you really have to invest.
Yeah.
And quality furniture is the number one to go. Because when you get cheap things look cheap. Even if you put them in your house, when clients come, they want value for their money. So I remember I went and saw a carpenter somewhere, and I decided, let me do what? Because I don't have a lot of money to go and buy, so not even a lot of money, just enough money to go and buy already made, furniture. I decided, let me just do it from scratch, so that we can try to fit in my budget, and something like that. My friend, I was so messed up. I almost lost a good $1,000. We talk about it because the bed, I told them to make me a bed. It was horrible. Seats, horrible. I just look at my furniture like this, and I'm like, this is so bad, and the competition is so high. So when you think about all these fully furnished apartments, you have to stand out. Are you giving the right quality services? Is your apartment very clean? Is it in a nice and secure, area? Those are the kind of things we have to consider. Those are very, very, very ideal.
Wow, going forward, what should you expect from away from? I know we've had that conversation on a personal level, but out here, what should they expect apart from you being an investor, investing in your own properties? Are we hoping to see you sell more properties, or are you just intending to be fixed on this particular furnished thing?
No. I'm intending to do more. I also do shambas. I sell land. Yes, I sell land, and I remember how I started with selling land. It is not like I knew about anything about land. I just saw a number somewhere on a land saying that land for sale. I called that number, and when I talked to the owner, we actually met, and I told them, if I get you a client, I want a commission. So we decided on a commission, and actually, gladly, I got a client and I got a good commission.
Why would a fine babe like you work over and above? Because women, we've been wired to feel like there's power in our beauty, and the now society is more of all you need to be is a socialite, the image that's in the country. All you need to do is that and get all your bills sorted. Why go over and above? Yet you can just have it in a platter.
I think it's in the blood. It's in my blood. So I can say I love working. I love having something of my own. And I'm a go-getter. I'm a go-getter babe. I want to do something for myself. I look at long-term investments because I don't want. I'm the kind of a babe who doesn't want to look rich, but I want to be rich. Exactly. So I try to work hard to have my own things, to have my own things going. The reason why I'm such a go-getter, it's because I think you've totally missed the
It's okay, but you see it so much sense.
Yeah. The reason why also I'm a go-getter is because of how I was raised. I was raised by a single mom.
Wow.
And I've seen her struggle for a while. And I never wanted poverty. Poverty is not something good, there are people who say, I'd rather cry in a private jet. I'm that babe. I want to cry in a private jet. So I try to work hard because I'm like, let me give myself something before I let another person to give it to me. So that I also don't settle for less, you understand? So I'm a go-getter because I know where I came from. I'm a beautiful babe like me, coming from the ghetto. I am the one who also sometimes take care of my family. I have siblings that I also take care of, I have to be an example because especially when you're raising boys, because our last one is a young man who's in high school. I have to make sure that he sees a good example in me because I wouldn't want them to have a life of
a shitty
one. I don't want them to have a shitty one. So I have to be an example and show them the way. I have to show them you can work hard. I want to show also other women that we can make it in our own industry.
I like the fact that you mentioned your brother because we are in a society where the boy child is forgotten.
Yes.
And for him to see what he's seeing in me would make him go for a woman who is a hard worker.
Yes.
And not one who is waiting to be pimped.
Yes.
One who is waiting to be pimped and just have a good life without going for it.
I don't mind to be pimped personally. Exactly.
I guess.
But you see, when you're there,
Uh-huh.
a man also has to match to your standards.
It's
when
easier
you're
for
there.
him to level up.
Exactly. At the end of the day, you know, some saying say men also see, and they spend on you on how you look, on how you even carry yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This reminds me, immediately I was done with high school,
Yes.
and I was looking for a house when joining campus. I was having a conversation with my sister-in-law, and I told her, I'm looking for a house, and I was mentioning places like, not a bad note, not that if you're staying in the places I'm going to mention is, okay, I'll just say in a general, it was on a slum. And she asked me why. I told her I can only afford a house worth 3,000 shillings. And she was like, okay, so? And I'm like, yeah, that's the only place I could get. She told me, chick, you can, that was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
She told me, do you know you can get an SQ, even in Lavington, for 3K?
Yeah.
And I was like, but why would I go to Lavington? Life is expensive. And she was like, it's in your mind.
Yeah.
When you live in that SQ, no one knows you're
Yes.
coming from an SQ.
Nobody.
When you're dating, no one will know you're coming from. They
No.
know you. So they have to up the game.
Yes.
And not necessarily being a gold digger, but in the essence of venye unataka ku, you know,
Yeah.
he can't get you in the slum, and you will start demanding for a car. From where? Chick, you okay by yourself here? Why are you coming to pressure me? You know.
Yes.
So I think it's a good thing you say that, so that most ladies out there know. Let's not ask too much from men. Yeah. Let's try to balance this thing and ensure what's your contribution in the lifestyle we live in.
Yeah.
So I like that fact.
So, you've mentioned something that is also very ideal. There are women who know they can fully be taken care of, and there are women who knows they have something going on in their lives. Because at the end of the day, I can be dating a very wealthy man who loves me, who takes care of me, who takes care of my bills. But I don't mind if I have my small business, because I'm a woman, and every woman wants to be taken care of. Do you understand? So yeah. So basically, I think the environment really triggers how you make the life you want. Let me just say that. You make the life you want. And considering that I came in a very down to earth environment, because I came from, you know, the Eastlands, I realized, because my life, it was not like
What you have now.
no, it was, I did not eat from a silver
It's
spoon.
okay, babe. You can be as black and white as possible. Here it's unedited, literally, because we're here to learn. We're here to unlearn the things we thought they're normal. Because the people who are brought up in poverty, and they're okay with that.
Yeah.
They should not be okay. Not because it's a bad place to be, but because they can do better.
You know, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice. You know, we create the life we want, first of all.
Yeah.
And I knew for a fact I never wanted to be poor.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up, being raised by maybe our parents then. They knew how to survive.
Yes.
Our parents used to live on survival mode. They didn't know there was something called abundance. You know, God gives. The world is full of abundance.
Yeah.
What you ask the universe to give it to you, the
God
universe
gives.
gives.
Yeah.
God gives. But the only thing we have to do is renew our minds.
The scarcity mentality.
Yeah, the scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
That is what is destroying a lot of people, because a lot of people get comfortable on where they are. They feel like maybe they cannot even be better. But when you start having an abundant mindset, you create more opportunities for yourself.
True.
Because energy never lies.
Yeah.
So when you become desperate about something, you kind of repel it away. But when you have an abundant heart, you wake up in the morning and you're grateful and you want to go for something that you want, you usually get it. There's just a way it happens, because it's energy. I cannot explain how energy really works, but it's energy, but it works. So I usually tell people money loves me, and it does. I go somewhere, I get money. Money loves me, money locates me.
Yeah.
You understand? And because I changed my mindset from scarcity mentality to an abundant mentality, and it worked for me. And having a grateful heart, going for it, working hard, it really.
What are some of the challenges you've been going through as a realtor, especially in the furnished stock service units, considering we know it to be more of male-dominated?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, real estate is interesting.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I'm saying male-dominated is because we always think men are risk takers. Women, we we're risk takers, but we're very skeptical about some certain investments, and property is one of them. If you look at most marriages, properties are under men's name, and the ones that are women's name, there is a way the man has a share. I don't know if it makes sense. There is that boldness in real estate that's not there, and I've experienced it even when we're going for meetings.
Okay.
In the room, 3/4 are men, a percentage of women. Have you had challenges in terms of the same? Do you feel like sometimes you hit the wall and you're like, damn, what do you do? And you remember if probably you were a man, it would have been easier for you to maneuver through. But now because you are a woman and you have to just soldier on and figure out how to go about it. Have you had such instances?
No, it has never occurred to me.
Okay.
Or it has never occurred to me.
Interesting.
I go for what I want. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll try to push it on because maybe I feel like maybe it's gonna work for me.
Yeah.
You know. And I think sometimes even for ladies, I don't think it's really, really hard. You know, considering there's a way as a woman. Let's just have that one.
I want her to continue.
No.
No,
We'll have to
it's a way
fight
as a
it.
woman.
I've forgotten that's the point.
Okay.
But I wanted to say there's a way as a woman when you go for what you want. Let's say for example, I've gotten apartments and I've gotten things that I wanted because I was a woman.
Yeah.
Because they see that soft spot, you know. There are men who appreciate women who work hard and they tend to support you on that. But there are other guys who think like you're a woman, you know, you cannot do anything, and then sometimes maybe they want something from you as well, but you have to know what you want. If that is what they want, let them go. Opportunities are there. There's so many opportunities, yet they're not even filled, you know. Exactly. So I don't have so many challenges when it comes to that though. But you had asked about challenges that I have encountered in real estate. Mostly maybe when it comes to my guests. I've not had any tough challenge, but I remember there are friends who have encountered very, very weird challenges. Let's say, for example, you host people and then they start fighting inside the apartment. When they start fighting and then maybe someone gets hurt or killed, you know. And especially these days, you know, we have so many cases of people, you know, people killing each other, love cycles and all that. That become a police case. And I know it may sound very skeptical, but you see, for me, I pray a lot for my business, and I usually ask and tell God, never allow any of my guests to ever fight in my house or something bad just happens. And God listens to prayers, you know. And I tell God, protect me from even guests who are, you know, who might
Have some
bring
type of
exactly
energy,
have some type of energy that doesn't
unfortunately,
match.
those are the ones who have money.
Exactly. So and another challenges is maybe if your customer maybe breaks something, maybe they don't want to pay, but it's something maybe valuable, expensive like TV, things like those. Some pay, some maybe don't. What do you do about those ones who don't? I usually tell people and encourage them to take details of your guests. You have their phone numbers definitely, because that is how you communicate. Their ID numbers. Just check their details. Have them. Even if you just register, do you understand? So that you can be safe in case something like that happens. But I'm truly grateful because most of my guests, I get them online through Airbnb. This is not a sponsored one, but yeah, I get most of my guests online, and I know if at all anything happens to maybe my property, I know where to report.
It's way much easier.
It's really much easier.
Wow.
Yes.
Have you ever gotten into a lucrative deal that's outside real estate, outside your business angle, and at that point, it's the point where you just need God to come through? And if so, how did you handle it? Because you know that those are some of the things I would call work ethics or personal ethics, because you start accepting small, then it eats you into you longer. Have you ever experienced such situations? Because I know women, we are what's the right word? It's easier for us. It's like these temptations come from women because they know we think with emotions. That's the right word to say. Most women we think with emotions rather than logic. Men are logical. They know this deal is good, but they know the consequences. For women, by the time they realize the consequences, they're too into the moment that they can't get out. Have you ever had such scenarios away from the work environment?
Yes. First of all, let me say, I had to train myself not to be thinking with emotions when it comes to business. I usually tell my friends something. I never mix emotions with business. I never mix emotion with money. That's on another level. I don't mix emotions with anything that's going to bring an income in my life. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I try my best to use logic. I try myself. I breathe in if at all I'm going through something that's going to make me feel emotional. Because sometimes, let's say for example, I encounter a situation with my client, there's a misunderstanding. Imagine you start having emotions. You start talking to your clients the way you want to become rude, and maybe they had an intention of even staying longer in your apartment, but that misunderstanding will cause them to go. So I breathe, and then I let them speak, and then now I come up with what I have to say. We try to understand each other. I try my level best not to use emotions. I know we're very emotional, I know we're very hormonal, these things happen, but sometimes you have to remember why you do this.
I'm so glad this conversation is happening. And that's why we have an edited. So make sure you tag your besties. Next time, tag your besties. Even in this conversation, make sure you share the link so that they can get to at least hear of these insights. We have siblings who are going through so much, and unless we talk about them, I know it's normal. We've normalized so much. But sometimes someone in the middle of the corner who's messed up, has done such, they're just wondering how do they pick up. How have you picked up from any of your worst moments? How do you pick up? What's your mantra?
Pray.
Okay, away from the prayer part, because I know there are individuals who, there's a time like the space I was in 2021, I had an option of saying, God, I was in your hands, but you still let me down.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything to do with God. There are those people who are in spaces where they don't want to hear about God.
Yeah.
Because if God is alive, why did He allow me to go through this? What are that mantra that you feel like works for you and can work for someone else if they borrow it from you?
You're telling me not to talk about prayer?
No, prayer is number one. That one is point taken. Yes. What's your second mantra?
I just try to, I become grateful. When I start counting my blessings, for some reasons, I get ideas. I get more ideas on things. So when I start thinking about what I want to do in 5 years, where I want to see myself in 5 years, how I'm going to make myself, better. For some reasons, my energy just changes and then I start focusing on that. Do you understand? There's a way it just works magic. Exactly.
Listening to that reminds me of my elder sister. She's always like, be grateful. I'm like, chick, be grateful for what? Be grateful. But over time, when you feel the impact, you realize what exactly she means.
Yes, I remember I heard something from a lady called Just Ivy. She does Monday, and I remember her saying very well that there's a time at a point in her life she used to lend people money, and she got to a point where because money comes with emotions. Money is there's just a very deep attachment. There's a very deep attachment with money. And I remember her saying that she used to feel bad about people not paying her money back, and that she was told by her sister, when you have something, when you let it go, you get more. But when you keep on insisting on that one thing that disappeared, you'll block yourself from getting another thing. So sometimes it's good do not avoid. Just try not to be so negative. But just try to be very, very positive. Because I can say, as Africans, especially, we were conditioned living in a scarcity mindset, and then we were conditioning. Most of us actually, we deal with a lot of don'ts instead of the do's. Do you understand? Like, let's say, for example, if you're bringing up a child, I try my best to bring children, or rather I'll bring my children up with more do's than don'ts. For example, I can give a very short example by saying, this is a cup here, and maybe it's somewhere on the edge, and then maybe my baby or someone is just sitting there, and I'm like, make sure that cup doesn't fall down, or maybe rather you tell a baby, don't bang the door. Do you understand? When you tell a child, don't bang the door, what's the keyword there, bang. That is what they're going to understand. So next time, even when you tell your child don't bang the door, they will bang it because they remember bang. But there's a way we can do it on a positive way by saying close the door slowly. Do you understand? Yeah, instead of using don't bang the door, while we're using the banging, and we can just always use the positive aspects. Yeah, just close the door slowly. Do this slowly. You get it? Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
Wow. It makes me view things in a way much broader angle, and that's why I love this segment, because I thought I knew it, then I realized, wait, because I'm parenting, then I start reflecting on what am I doing it the right way? Am I as an individual grateful enough? Is it that I've been having scarcity because of my mindset, And I pray and believe that any other person you're watching out there, I hope this really, really resonates with you, resonates in your own personal space. And also you should be graceful enough to even share the information so that they can learn and be better.
Yes.
It's been interesting and amazing to have you. It's one thing to... You are one of the people who literally, you came when my inner circle was no longer just empty, and I'm grateful because I've learned so much from you, and one of the things I can attest is energy. I went to a restaurant with her, sorry, and I was like, the first thing I got there, I was like, chick, I'm broke. And she's like, okay, so we're meeting in a restaurant, and she's like, so I'm broke. And she's worried because I came with Uber, and I'm like, actually, my Uber had some money, had credit. So that's how I was able, until I'm removing my phone, and she was like, babes, you're explaining yourself too much.
Yeah.
You have, and we'll get out of here and we'll pay.
Yes.
And true to her word, actually we ate, literally, to feeling, and we literally paid that. Don't ask how. It's the energy. And I've learned to come and appreciate that. So thank you so much for that vibe. And accepting to share that vibe with you and the world.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What's that one thing you take with a young person probably hoping to join real estate?
Yes.
And they think, it's a bit hard or whatever. What's that one thing you'd like to tell them?
Yes.
Yeah. And also for the parents, because our parents were wired, you have to be a career woman, you have to do what? Is real estate something you would encourage a parent to wire their children into?
Yes, I would encourage, because real estate, when you talk about real estate, we talk about value. The valuation of real estate always goes high. It does not depreciate. In as much as the appreciation rate can take time, but it's usually very good, and it's very profitable. And I can say, as long as you have the idea, go for it. And there's something called leverage. You can also do leverage. That is why you can actually borrow money borrow money to use it as capital, so that you can start or maybe buy an asset that is going to help you in the future. Like even banks, they can give loans, and then maybe you can build an apartment, and you can when you do leverage, you just have the hope, knowing that this leverage, this capital that you've been given, or the one that you borrowed, is gonna bring more income than what you borrowed. So do not be afraid. Talk about your ideas to people that you trust, and seek opportunities because opportunities are found. Always seek opportunities, try your best, and be the best that you can be. That's all I have to say for today.
Wow. I'm so glad you came.
Trust me.
Thank you
so much. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. And I hope to have more segments with you, because you are a whole, I told you, you're a full house, right? Yeah, so guys, that's it for today. Okay. Guys, that's it for today. It's been an interesting conversation. Personally, I'm rethinking about, especially that point where Usifanye, me, I'm that mother, African mother. Don't do that, yeah? So I've been doing a lot of that. So I'm going to rethink and see what are the better ways to stop my sons from doing what they're not supposed to do. I have been your host, Faith Agnetta, and this is Unedited. Until next time, bye-bye.